Hello, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Chioma Moma, and if you're new here, it's good to see you. If you've been here before, welcome back, and make sure you subscribe. Okay, so usually I don't really like to jump on certain topics, but then in everything that comes out into the public space, every trending topic, every whatever it is, I try to look at the parental angle. What lessons can we learn, especially as parents? And the topic I want to talk about today is Wofai, popularly known as Wofai Father, or Wofai Ewa, I think is the other name I've seen them use for her. So I follow her actually. I follow her feed, and she's a comedian. She does something on DSTV, like a sports program. And she's quite fun and she cooks well as well. I remember there was something that I saw and I was like, I didn't like someone who has kids, so I was like, I was a bit put off. But generally, apart from that one, the content I see her put out seems to be fine, and she's quite a beautiful lady. And I think one thing that endeared me to Wofai is the fact that she talks about her background a lot, where she's coming from. When you see someone who's in tune where they're coming from, it's always like, okay, you've not forgotten, you've not lost touch with that important aspect of who you are, because until you're cognizant of where you're coming from, it's hard to know where you're going. And she always talks about her roots when she goes to visit home. She's from Ugep in Cross River, and if you know Wofai, you've followed her for any amount of time, you will have seen her write about Ugep, where she is from and all of that, and how she loves her place, and how she, sold hawked stuff at a point, just her story, And recently she said, oh, she was getting married. I'm like, oh, good for you. And then the next thing, I see some noise, because it's like there's now a controversy, because apparently her husband-to-be's father, or her husband's father, is distancing himself from the whole thing. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So apparently, there's a leaked audio, and for me that leaked audio is either of two things: the father's friends are really, really horrible friends, or the father planned that all so he could say the story, which is very possible. So either, whatever the scenario is, the story according to the father is that his son brought Wofai home about 6-7 months ago to introduce to them. And next thing he said, oh, the girl is pregnant, and he's like, we don't really know how. We have to do our investigations and all of that. Fine, she's pregnant for you. Why don't you give it some time? Let her even have the baby, and after the baby is born, we can go and do the marital rights and all that. And then the boy refused. Next thing he saw that there was a wedding. And what made it more interesting to me, because I was saying, there was a wedding, he didn't have his father's support. Who went with him? Apparently his mother, who the man divorced over 20 years ago, went with her son, and maybe she got some of the relatives, because in every family they have they always have the people who will agree. Even if it's just one random person who will say, oh yeah, I'll follow you. Maybe she got one of the ex-husband's family members to go with her to go and ask for this girl's hand in marriage. So he shall release the statement that they don't know anything about this. They don't have that it doesn't have their support, doesn't have the family support, blah 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 blah. And this is my take. Yeah, I might be wrong. I stand to be corrected, but it just shows so many things. So that even if the boy's name is what's his name, Taiwo Cole, even if Taiwo's parents are divorced, they're obviously not on the same page at all regarding the guy. There's a lot of distance, there's a lot of the co-parenting is not on point, because they're so discordant and stuff, which is really, really sad. Because for me, whether you're married to someone or not, you should be able to agree on certain things when it regards your child, where you have a common voice. So even if you believe, oh, they should get married, you're able to go and try and convince them. We've seen so many situations where a wife wants a man, and the husband doesn't want a man for their child, and the wife is able to convince the husband to say, look, honey, let them get married, let them go ahead, and eventually that's what happens. We've seen it happen time after time. So that's shows a lot of disconnect beyond the divorce. It shows a lot of disconnect between the boy's parents. And also we see that even the boy's sister is in support as well. She's like, oh, good for you, go. Shows a lot of discordance in that family. And what he has just done by bringing that letter into the public domain is that he has just opened up his family to the whole public, which we really didn't need to be part of all this. You know, the reason I'm even talking about it now is because we've been invited into the whole arena, which is really not, it's really not our business. We don't even know these people beyond what we see them put on social media, their pictures. But like I said, I just want to just talk about the parental thing. So that's one point, is that parents should always seem to be on the same side, you know, even if it means having to discuss things so that you're able to come from a united point, even when you're not together. It's really so important. So that shows that, in fact, the way he even described her, I don't even think he's even talking to that woman at all. That's Taiwo's mom. And then the other thing that I found interesting was the whole, I'm thinking about her welfare, let her marry after she puts to bed. That's one of the oldest tricks, honestly. He obviously has no plan for his son to marry that girl. That's the honest truth. And just listening to his audio, I'm saying that all just my thoughts, so I might be wrong. You could just see, like, even his statements. Who is this one? Who is she? Where did she come from? Which hamlet did she come from in Cross River? And she thinks she's good enough for my son. So you can just see that the guy, because like somebody was saying, you know, for some people, you know, they're thinking about the next generation. Who do I want to be the mother of my grandchildren? So not even just the mother of their own children, they're thinking to the next generation. So he's just thinking, do I want that girl? Do I want my grandchildren's lineage to be mixed with this girl? He's looking down on her. It's quite obvious that there's a classist thing going on, where he feels this girl is not good enough to be joined with my family and produce future calls. I'm not down with that. If they don't marry, it's good, it's okay, it's better, but I don't want this girl to be part of our family lineage. I'm not interested in all that. And it's also quite sad, because we think about so many things. Who are we to look down on anybody? Who are we to discriminate? When we look at the lineage of Jesus when he was on earth, we saw all sorts of people who people would actually think, this person, I can look down on this person. All sorts of people were in his lineage. People of not the greatest character and all that. You know, you can go and study the lineage of Jesus. And God allowed that to happen to show you, to teach us a lesson. Don't look down on anybody. Don't think you're better than anybody. Do you understand? We all came into this world through the same route. You're all born of a woman. Everybody comes through that. You know, whether it's through IVF, whatever, you still have to be born of a woman. So we all have the same beginning and the same entry into this world. It's just that life happens. Some people end up rich, some people don't. Different things play out. Some people end up to be aristocrats, some people end up being, you know. So it's not as if it's not your doing that you're a particular thing. And people should not raise children to have that kind of mindset that I'm better than you, I belong to a better class than you. I've seen people from different classes. They're married and marry well. 20, 30-year marriages going strong. I've seen people from the same class, the same aristocrats class or whatever, you know, the bourgeois. I've seen them marry and the marriage is awful. I've seen that happen. I've seen people from the same social strata, you know, maybe, you know, a very, you know, lower middle class, they marry, it doesn't work. I've seen some and it works. So it really doesn't have much to do with those things. Yes, there is something. People say, oh, marry up instead of marrying down. There are all sorts of things people say, oh, it's better for a girl to marry up than for a, you know, that if it's a boy, but a boy can marry down because he can bring the girl up. I've heard things like that as well. But that if it's a girl should not marry down because the boy can take her down. Well, yeah, and well, maybe there are some things that play out, but generally, I really think people make much ado about nothing. Much ado about things that are not important. Much ado about things that will not build a home. Is the home centered on Christ? Is the home centered on love? Is the home centered on common interests? Is the home centered on understanding? What is the marriage based on? Is there love? Is there understanding? Can two work together unless they agree? Is there agreement between the couple? That's, for me, is more than anything else. You can see people married from two people from a fantastic background. They speak the same language, the same culture, the same everything. The marriage will be a disaster. I will see people from different tribes, different cultures, different everything, and the marriage will thrive. There's so many examples. The other thing I wanted to talk about, you know, when you talk about this couple, you know, It's the guy himself. He said he's 30. Somebody was saying he might be a bit younger than 30. I don't know, but he said he's 30. At least that's what his father said, that he's 30. You know, a 30-year-old man is old enough to say this is who he wants to get married to. And you can see that he is so, he acted the whole drama. He didn't, that wasn't a pre-wedding shoot, it was a pre-wedding movie. He did a whole drama with Wofai, showing how much into he is. So he's not, so the whole thing of, oh, she trapped me with pregnancy, you can see that doesn't look like a man that was forced to do anything. He obviously seems excited about this union. Yes, the pregnancy might have sped things forward, but he doesn't look like a man that's under duress or pressure to marry anybody. He looks like someone that is part, is like his chest is only one, and this is what I want to be with this lady, and like people are saying, the guy who has his own issues, everybody who is perfect, people have come out and said all sorts of things about him. I don't want to get into that because this is not what I'm here to do, to start talking about what people are saying here and there, but just to talk about the facts as we know them, because that's all we know. For instance, this could also be the cultural thing. Someone has mentioned that, even though I don't really think it's an issue, but for instance, maybe the first time they met, maybe the way she greeted them, for instance, because I grew up in Lagos, probably, there's a way I greet people from a certain part of the country. For me, it's just emotional intelligence. I will, courtesy or kneel or something if I'm greeting someone from the Southwest. I'm very, because I know that is what they expect. So maybe I'm just speculating. Maybe they didn't like the way the girl greeted. Because I've heard those kind of stories where somebody's girlfriend came and the way she greeted, this girl, no respect. That could have been what put them off and said, we don't like this girl. Like I said, I'm just speculating. Who knows? Cultural differences might be a factor, but it might not at all. It could really just be, I think it's just a class thing. But it could be, like I said, none of us were there to see all the things that played out. Maybe she didn't talk to them in a way that they felt was respectful. Maybe she didn't put, she didn't kneel down. I don't know. But obviously the father is not enamored. He's not really feeling the whole thing. And he just thinks, what, son? I just think what he was trying to do was to buy time by saying, let her have the baby first. Just to buy time to try and dissuade him and say, look, you already have a child. Having children is not the issue. Don't marry this girl. Don't enter this trap. This girl wants to trap you. She wants to carry your name or something. I don't know. So anyway, that's just my random musing, my thoughts on this issue. And for parents, this is my candid advice. I've seen it play out so many times. You cannot force your child to marry or not to marry, especially not children of these days, young people of today. It's not gonna work. She might go with it, he might go with it. At the end, when it backfires, they will blame you, they will hate you or whatever. And then you cannot force people not to marry either. I don't know, if you're able to get away with that, that's really interesting. But I've seen it, there's this story that I was part and parcel of. It was they were a very known couple. They dated for years, time to marry. They brought in tribal sentiment. They said no, they cannot marry. For where, at a point they went and the girl took in, and it was not marriage by force. And they've been married for over 30 years. It's a very successful marriage by the grace of God. It shouldn't have started the way it did, but because of the stubbornness of the parents on both sides, they were just saying, no, my child is better, my child, it was just a whole, the main crux was tribal differences. These things, we make them out to be more important than they are not. Trust me. We know so many people, they speak the same language, everything, and it's not working. People don't speak the same language, and it's working. Let us major on what needs to be majored on, and not major on the minor, the things that are insignificant. Oh, he's too short. Oh, he's this is that. It does all those. We overrate some things. So as parents, as our children are growing, let us not be the kind of parents that will just be a stumbling block. And how would you like it if after you make noise and you stop your child from marrying somebody, they end up marrying somebody else and it doesn't work? How would you feel? So really, my candid advice: pray for your children, bring them up in the way of the Lord, pray for that they meet the right people, pray for their future partners, and just do the right thing. Prayers work. Bring them up the right way works. Teaching them the right value system, all those things work. Okay, it's not to be going to go and write statements in the newspapers later on to say this and that and this. Those things, you're just bringing undue attention to yourself. I'm sure the family didn't think people would support her, you know, but the truth is that at least as I know about that girl, she doesn't, I'm not really seeing any scandals around her. Most people are like, and then the age thing, for goodness sake, I am quite old-fashioned in some things, but I don't think, sorry, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I really don't. If it was like 20 years or something really, you know, but I think the main thing is that the woman should be able to respect her husband, so she can submit to him as a wife submits to her husband. The woman should be able to love his wife the way Christ loved the church. Those are the things that I think are important. So if there's age difference, the guy is a bit older or the girl is a bit older and they can do those things, then there's no problem. I think it will be fine. Like I said, these are all my personal thoughts. Do you understand? If she can give him his respect, I think it's okay. Yeah, 8 years might be a lot. Even for me, I would think, I'm not sure I would have been married again. I was 8 years young, but maybe I would have. Who knows? I married quite young. Maybe if I was older, I was 38 and a guy of 30 came to meet me, maybe I would have agreed, you know. So, but you know, but I'm not in that situation. I am married. I married and then I'm, you know, and I'm cool. And you know, that is not my situation. That I didn't have that experience. I didn't have younger people chase me. Do you understand? So I don't know what I would do, but I don't think it's that big. This video has gone on longer than it should have, but I want to just know your thoughts on this whole thing and what parental lessons can you learn from this whole story. What can you learn to do and not to do when it concerns your children and their future partners? It's going to be your turn, so don't think, oh, my child is too young, or they're just teenagers, or they're just toddlers. Before you know what's happening, you have a 28-year-old in your house. What are your plans concerning their future partners? Are you praying about their marriages? Are you talking to your God about it already? You definitely should. And should we learn things about different cultures? Absolutely, we should be open-minded, you know. So I wish Wofai and Taiwo all the best. I hope they look at the things that they need to look at. I hope they build their marriage on Christ, on God. If they are Christians or whatever faith they belong to, they should build their marriage on the right values. They should have a happy home. This should actually inspire them to do things the right way. They didn't start in the best way, but you know what, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes you can actually get things corrected. Once you realize that this is how it's supposed to be, you can actually walk on the right path and do things the way it's supposed to be done. Okay, so it's not really for all this drama in the early stage. They can actually look back on it and they can forget. I've seen couples who had a lot of drama, as in so much drama, you know. There's even someone I know, the day of the traditional marriage, the guy's family did not show. That's how much they were against the union. They did not show up. The guy has said, I'm going ahead. His family, they more or less kidnapped him in the grave, so you're not going anywhere. Today they've been married for over 20 years and they're doing well. Wonderful, godly couple. So the starting might have seemed a bit funny. People might have, in fact, the point, she was like, look, she told the guy, leave me, I'm not doing it again. Your parents don't like me. Rest, leave me. So leave me alone. I don't want to marry you. Your parents don't like me. But the guy knew what he wanted. This was a young boy. He was young. He was not even up to 30. He was very young. I said, no, you're my wife. I want to marry you. I want to be with you. And they'll be able to, and now they'll be able to build their home. And now that her in-laws who didn't like her at all, they are quite close. I know so, in fact, there's so many stories. Is it the tribal one? I have another friend too, who it was a northern. I think the guy was northern. You know, she was from the west. The parents were like, how? Are you okay? For what? But today, if you see her parents and her husband, you will not believe the kind of close relationship that they have, because she went ahead, they got married, and the parents came round eventually. I'm not saying you should marry without your parents' consent. Doesn't know what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we as parents, let us have the right ideas in our head. What is wrong with that person? What's wrong with marrying someone from a different tribe? Please tell me what the problem is. We don't speak the same language. Is it you that your child is only speaking English, that you're talking about a language issue? Come on. That's all. Or the home is far. They all live in Abuja or all live in Lagos. Which home is far? Let's not bring old things and put into our future and destroy our child or our children's chance for happiness. So like I said, I've spoken so much. Please, after all this talk, make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. And I have so much in store for you. My parenting community is always open. My coaching and mentoring for young women is there. Please join in. I would love to see some of you there, especially working women. God bless you and have a great day. Bye.